Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Jobber Circle Wrestling Podcast. Of course, this is the wrestling podcast where every week we talk about the biggest behind-the-scenes news stories or biggest things going on in WWE. And then, of course, you can follow us on TikTok and Instagram at Jobber Circle Wrestling, where we give our weekly reviews and monthly reviews on pay-per-views through our Pops and Potatoes rating system.
Yes.
So what's going on? Let's see what's going on this week. I mean, the biggest news of the week, I would say, is WWE is just so corporate now. We've joked in the past about like corporate storylines, but this, and sadly, this isn't a storyline. This is real corporate kayfabe,
Yeah.
And I don't know. What do you think about it?
I just think the WWE has just lost in just wanting to make TKO happy at this point, because like you see like with all the ads, and then like they're just kind of going along with like all these deals. Like the huge thing was the big ESPN deal this week, and it's just kind of like, I mean, yeah, we made a video about it on TikTok, and it was just like the facts of it, just like, why are you going to charge so much? We've been used to paying this. The network was what, $10 back in the day.
Yep.
So everything's just going up and up and up, and everything just seems to be about money.
Well, the problem with the network that everyone wants to come back all these years later and be like, oh, bring back WWE Network, $9.99. That was the problem with WWE Network, people. It was only $9.99, and none of y'all bought it. That's why. I think when the network stopped here in America, there was only 1 million people subscribed, and they thought they were going to get Disney Plus numbers, because I think Disney was like 3+ million that were subscribed to Disney Plus when they first came out. So WWE Network thought they were going to get Disney numbers in order to sustain that $10 price. Mind you, yes, they could have just bumped up the price to 15 or 20, but let's face it, if only 1 million people were buying the WWE Network back then, that probably 1 million was going to drop even lower if they did raise their prices. So of course they had to sell out to Peacock, because none of y'all bought the WWE Network back then. There's only 1 million people, so it can't. And now there's millions and millions of people online. They're like, oh, bring back the WWE Network. Well, you weren't the one subscribing, so that's why they're never bringing it back. Yeah. And that's why if they were going to bring back something like that, it's going to be through ESPN and this $30 deal, which all these people like Nick Khan and all these corporate suits, and this is just corporate greed, and they're like, oh yeah, everyone's gonna jump, everyone's gonna pay it, and it's like, no.
He seems so sure.
Yeah, there's a reason why we're not as into AEW as we should be, is because we're not gonna shell out $50 for an AEW pay-per-view.
Yeah, exactly.
So there's no way to really keep up with it or fully invest in it if we're not gonna be fully invested in everything, and I guess it's gonna be that way for WWE. I don't know.
They did, like, there was like a hack, and I guess not really a hack, but like some people did figure out that because you can get ESPN with a certain cable package, and apparently if you have ESPN through your cable provider, you basically don't have to pay for ESPN. You don't have to not pay for it. You just already have access to ESPN, the app. You know what I mean? So That's where people are like, oh, okay, well then I already have ESPN, so I don't got to worry about it. But it's like, yeah, you still have to, basically pay for your cable. So they're just expecting their fans to just pay so much money for what?
Well, exactly. What are they paying? Like, okay, how do I put this into perspective, or how am I trying to describe it? Because it's like, if now we're getting this deal with ESPN where we have to pay $30 a month on top of having to have a Netflix subscription, on top of having to have cable, like you said, you broke this down in our last TikTok video. But if we're all of a sudden having to pay for all these things, then what are all these ads for? What are all these ads for around the ring? Because we didn't have these ads before. Now we have ads around the ring. We have ads Slim Jim. God, if I see one more damn Slim Jim table, there used to be a time where you're excited about a table spot, but now they're just doing it just to advertise Slim Jim. Like SummerSlam. I'm glad that there was like 20 table spots in the pay-per-view, but that's just because they wanted to advertise Slim Jim 20 times. And it's like, so if we're having to pay, like, the whole point of all these ads around the ring, all these ads everywhere we see in WWE is so they can make money, so we don't have to, spend as much. So what are all these ads for then? So you're telling me we're paying to see ads get shoved down our throat? We're paying to see ads stamped all over the ring and all over the ring posts, and like they said, I don't know if it's rumor or not, but pretty soon we're going to be seeing them on the wrestlers' clothing. Pretty soon we're going to be having wrestlers cut promos with ads in it. Like,
That would
what are
probably
all these
be-
ads paying for if we're essentially just having to pay more just to see these ads?
Yeah, that would probably be my last straw. When you said that, like including it in a promo, that is like totally like way like reaching.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like we were talking about AEW. I mean, AEW doesn't sound so bad now. I mean, let's face it. When we first started this podcast, we were talking mostly about AEW, and then we kind of veered away from that because WWE got better. And now, like this is wrestling. It just ebbs and flows. Everyone wants to talk about WWE or AEW having empty arenas when literally we started watching AEW because WWE had empty arenas because their show sucked. And then of course through competition it got better, and AEW started sucking, and now it looks like I don't know.
Yeah, that's one thing with like this whole like getting on a network that bugged me about AEW in specifics was that because I realized on the last pay-per-view All In, I think it was All In Texas, was that they have this deal with HBO Max, but it's basically only for you can watch Collision and Dynamite also. So like the point of like going somewhere is like, don't, if you have something on cable, like, okay, I'm sorry, but you don't see Raw at other places, you know what I mean, at once. You just see it on Netflix. So the fact that they're doing that, AEW still has a lot of like learning to do, and still charging, like you said, $60 for a pay-per-view is totally insane.
It's ridiculous. And it just all comes down to corporate greed and like what are we even doing here?
Yeah, so they're losing it when it comes to money and even when it comes to their own talent, I fear, because now the news dropped is that Karrion Kross and Scarlett have officially left WWE. They moved them to the alumni section, their contract expired, and they just plan to not renew it. And they've both at this point have already confirmed it on their Twitter.
Yeah, and I hope this is some kind of work. Maybe they're doing a work that we haven't seen before, but maybe try to make people like chant and want Karrion Kross like they did for R-Truth. But I mean, let's face it, maybe not. It's not a work because look what happened to R-Truth. Nothing.
Yes, that was so. Yeah, don't even get me started on that. That was such a waste of time.
And then if it is real that Karrion Kross is gone and Scarlett are gone, it's just like that's so disappointing, and it just I don't know, it just boils my blood. Like even down to when after the SummerSlam when they're doing like the outside kind of panel press conference deal, and everyone was chanting, "We want Kross," and like Triple H, "Oh, you want Brock? You got him," like that. Like that moment is literally a metaphor for a corporate being shoved up Triple H's. That moment right there.
Yeah.
Because I hope he really wasn't trying to cover up the Kross chants. I hope he really misunderstood it. But if he didn't misunderstood him and he was really trying to cover up the Kross chants for Brock, then that was the equivalent of having a corporate shoved up your. And I'll bleep out what I need to bleep out, but that's literally what I think of Triple H now.
Yeah.
It's like you. This is literally everything you worked for, and you're just gonna let this corporate company come and just do whatever they want for something that you passionately loved, that you wanted to take over, and through the Unreal that they can show. Like the whole point of the Unreal show apparently, and how Triple H like specifically showed Triple H having these moments with all these, because they're trying to show that Triple H is like the Dana White of WWE, which essentially he is, but it really should be Dana White is the WWE, is the Triple H of UFC, because let's face it, UFC sucks. I mean, there's a reason why TKO had to buy WWE, because like UFC is like, I don't want to go off on a tangent. UFC, I can debate anybody on this. It's like, oh, these are real fights, and they're the greatest fighters and stuff. Okay, then why are the ratings so low? Because nobody gives a this guy can beat up this guy, because in 2 months another guy's going to come and beat the hell out of this guy. This is why you have to have kayfabe, because unless you have kayfabe, there's no entertainment in it. That's why they're the biggest UFC fighters are people like Conor McGregor, because why? He's the only entertaining one in that whole freaking company.
Yeah.
That's why he's the biggest UFC star. Nobody, if you asked how many times has Conor McGregor won or lost, nobody would tell you a real answer unless they're a UFC fan, because all they care about is Conor McGregor is entertaining. And what exactly was Conor McGregor doing? He was being a Ric Flair. He was being a WWE superstar. He was having a gimmick. That's why UFC is boring, because unless you have kayfabe, unless you have gimmicks, unless you have some form of entertainment, nobody gives a shit that you're the toughest guy in the world. Yeah. Because in 5 months, you're not going to be the toughest guy in the world.
Yeah, man, you came with some stuff to say.
Yeah, I mean that's just how I. Thank you.
No, it's really good.
Yeah.
But it's just, man. Yeah, what you said.
Thanks, babe. But I mean, I hope this is the end for. I hope this isn't the end for Karrion Kross and Scarlett in WWE. But if it is, I mean, TNA, I guess, is the only because if they go to AEW, that's like, come on, like we said, we love AEW. I'm not trying to talk crap about AEW, but it's just like AEW needs to build their own stars, like they kind of are. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
with like Speedball and even
Yeah.
Ricochet is we were watching AEW the other day, and I was watching that Ricochet match, and I was like, dude, Ricochet is a really good wrestler.
Yeah.
It just sucks that he sucks at everything else.
Mm-hmm.
But AEW needs to focus on building their stars like that.
Yeah. You know
Because
what?
go
Sorry.
ahead.
No, I was
Oh,
just gonna say. Go ahead.
I just have to get this out because I just feel
Yeah.
like even though Ricochet was a former WWE superstar, he would be a bigger star in AEW just because he'll be utilized better.
Yeah.
Like I feel like it's like the Kurt Angle WWE run. Like everyone thinks Kurt Angle in WWE, but technically Kurt Angle had a better run and a longer run in TNA. I feel like that's going to be the case for Ricochet in AEW.
Yeah.
But we're saying,
Would you say the same for AJ Styles?
oh, that's hard. That is almost like reverse. That is almost like the AJ Styles had a longer run in TNA, but he his more impactful run would be in WWE because yeah, he didn't do as much in WWE as he did in TNA, but I still feel like the things he did was more impactful. I mean,
Yeah.
the whole place that runs a the face that runs a place or the house that AJ Styles built. The whole feud with Cena, and then you had technically AJ Styles was in Undertaker's last WrestleMania match.
Oh,
So I feel like
true.
that's what I mean. AJ Styles grew up, and like TNA is always like you're always gonna think of AJ Styles when you think of TNA. But in my perspective, I think even though he did more and had a longer run in TNA, that he had a more impactful run in WWE.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, that answers my question. But what I was gonna say before is that Karrion Kross, he would be good in AEW because just think, AEW just lost Aleister Black, so maybe Karrion Kross could go and be something along those lines.
Yeah, but what did AEW do with Aleister Black too?
Yeah.
I don't know. I just can't. You just can't. AEW. I feel like AEW is a hit or miss in equivalent to like an NXT call up. Like if an NXT call up comes to Raw or SmackDown, they're either gonna make it or they're gonna suck. Same thing if you transfer over from WWE to AEW. Either because look at MVP. Apparently, Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin are tag team champions, but apparently MVP is complaining and that they're not treating Bobby Lashley right, and they just lowered him down to a tag team wrestler and this and that, and it's like it's almost becoming the thing that like somebody put it on the comments and getting a lot of feedback, but like it's almost becoming a thing that you wonder why MVP never really lasts anywhere he goes, because I think maybe he's the problem, but we don't know. I'm no one to say. So
it kind of sounds like it though.
yeah, it's like, dude, like, yeah, I understand, but like, it's like there's a time and a place. Like, obviously, there's gonna be a storyline in the near future where Bobby Lashley will go for the AEW world title, but like right now, it's still pretty cool that like the Hurt Business, what are they called now?
The Hurt Syndicate.
Yes, is at least getting a title run that they really didn't get in WWE. So
Yeah,
just
that's
take it.
true.
Just take like the good. That's what I mean. Take the good for what it is. Like sometimes MVP kind of sounds like Rikishi.
I was
like,
just gonna say that too.
Yeah, it's just these old bitter wrestlers that never really got over themselves, or just like trying to say like, oh, you need to do this to get over. It's like, bitch, you couldn't even get over yourself.
Yeah.
MVP was pretty over though when he was wrestling. So
Yeah.
he just was never world champion, but he still was a good mid carder. So
Yeah. Let's see.
Triple Anya.
Oh, Triple Mania! I'm actually excited for this. We've never watched Triple Mania before, and it's the ticket sales have already sold out. I heard that they had to actually slim down the stage set to make more room for more tickets.
Damn. See,
Yeah.
now, okay, we were talking crap about corporate greed and TKO, but sometimes we do got to take the good with the bad, because, like we talked about before, Vince would never allow this partnership with TNA and NXT. Vince would never allow this partnership with WWE and AAA. Maybe he would, maybe he wouldn't, because, yeah, apparently they always refer back to, like, this thing in, like, what was it, 93 that they done before, and it was probably just, like, a one-off, and of course, Vince never did it again after that year. So, I mean, who's to say if Vince would have really done this, if we would be here right now,
Yeah.
if it wasn't for TKO. But, man, I think it's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Dom is going to be a double champ. If he wins a AAA mega title and he's in, that's what they need, because he got the biggest pop
Yeah.
when he freaking appeared in that last event that they had.
He got a pop, and then did you see that picture of his arm?
Yes, he had goosebumps.
Yes,
Like
his
he
hair was standing up.
is like Dom could be like could only show up to AAA like once a month or once every few months, and he could be like
Yeah.
the biggest star they have ever had, and he's technically not even a real AAA,
Yeah.
superstar or wrestler.
Right. And well, him plus 9 other people. Apparently, there's 10 total WWE stars that are going to be at Triple Mania in a match. Natalia, the Los Garzas, there was other people.
And again,
Lola Vice, yeah.
yes, and that's exactly what they should use it for. Use it for those wrestlers that they just don't. I'm not gonna say they're not getting over, but use it for those wrestlers that don't have the time. That you don't have the time for a Raw or SmackDown. They can't really get their shine in. And, sometimes if you're on a Raw and SmackDown in freaking Lexington, Kentucky, of course, maybe some of the crowds aren't best for some of these superstars. So do that. Natalia, huge pops in AAA, new persona. Los Garzas, huge pop in AAA, I'm sorry. Los Garzas, huge pop in AAA. Like, use it for those superstars where it's not necessarily like, oh, if we don't have a spot for them here, but we don't want to put them in NXT because that would look like a downgrade. So boom, transition them to kind of just, of course they probably do live shows and stuff, but also their main stuff on TV is like through AAA or through a Raw where they're advertising AAA. Like, yeah, just that's what I feel like. People like Natalia, Los Garzas, even Dominic Mysterio. I mean, Dominic's gonna get double. Double shine.
I think he's just the big he's the main event literally.
Yeah, and even El Grande Americano's kind of like there too. But yeah, use it for those superstars that like really get them over there.
Yeah, Raquel is gonna be in it too with the Judgment Day. So yeah, it should be really interesting, and I can't wait to see it. I'm actually appreciative that it's only gonna be. Actually appreciative and shocked that WWE is gonna put it only on YouTube. You can watch it just stream live on YouTube.
I know, that is really cool.
Gotta pay for it, that I know.
Yeah, that is really cool.
So,
but I mean, what else you want to talk about? Brock Lesnar being back. I know people are torn. People are back and forth on Brock Lesnar being back. Let's just see how it goes. Let's just take it for what it is. He's probably just gonna have a one-off match with John Cena. Obviously, he wasn't there this past week. He's not gonna be there every week. So, we don't have to put up with him every week, people. Yeah. So let's just see where it goes. And yeah, this is not going to be known as John Cena's heel run. This is going to be known as John Cena's TKO run, and it is a potato. Yeah. But, all right. We're doing that. Anything else you want to talk about? Oh, yeah, speaking of Saudi princes, Saudi did, you want to, say.
Yeah, so the Saudi president made an interesting announcement on social media that they locked in a major entertainment event that'll take place in 2027, and somebody just commented, WWE is very popular in Saudi Arabia, and so WrestleMania ? And he does like these little emoji faces. So people are kind of speculating that Saudi Arabia will have WrestleMania in 2027, but then there's also some talk that there could be 2 WrestleManias in 2027. Yeah. So what's your take on that?
Well, see, again, this is totally TKO stank all over it because that's something Vince would never do. As a matter of fact, a few years ago, if y'all remember, Saudi Arabia wanted to have their own Royal Rumble in Saudi Arabia, and like Vince, like instead of having Royal Rumble, which they could have easily done, have Royal Rumble in Saudi Arabia, he's like, no, we're just gonna give y'all's own Royal Rumble. Like that's when they came up with the greatest Royal Rumble, and all you won out of the greatest. It was a 40-man Royal Rumble in Saudi Arabia, and Braun Strowman won. He didn't win anything except the title. And where's Braun Strowman now? But anyway,
and the title.
Yeah, at least he probably got that for his trophy case. So at least good on him. But I don't know. I feel like there shouldn't be. Of course, if there's 2 WrestleManias, see, how are they going to do that? Are they going to do literally, like you said, a WrestleMania like 42 in Saudi and a WrestleMania 43 that same year? Or are they going to pull a WrestleMania 2 and have it was WrestleMania 2, right, where they had it in 3 separate locations?
Right.
And then, you said they had it, like, all across. It was, like, one in L.A.
L.A., New York, and then, like,
in the Midwest, like Chicago area. Like,
no,
it was around.
Chicago's kind of closer to New York. It was more like Indiana.
I think so.
Kansas, literally somewhere directly in the middle.
So why don't they pull a WrestleMania 2 and maybe have, like, the first, because WrestleMania is 2 nights, so why don't they have the first WrestleMania 2-night where both nights are in separate events or separate places, separate arenas.
Yeah.
That would be interesting.
That would be interesting because I don't know, like my OCD's like freaking out about how you can just like go like from 43, 44, I don't know what it'll be, but 43, 44 for example, like all in the same year. And
Yes.
then not to mention too, like I would kind of get like my how do I say, like it would be more interesting to just have it and like get it over with. Like you mean to tell me like I'm supposed to like get excited for WrestleMania and then in 3 months from now another WrestleMania. Like what I feel like the best part about WWE's too is like how like the different pay-per-view names.
Yeah. Sorry, our camera cut off there. It's recording, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so there's multiple ways we can go about it. Like I was saying, whether have WrestleMania night 1 and 2, where night 1 is in Saudi or night 2 is in Saudi, and then the other night somewhere else, or like you were saying, would be the most weirdest. Like it'd be the weirdest thing if they do 2 WrestleManias or in numbers in a row. Like we're in 2025, we just had a WrestleMania. So 2026 is going to be 41. 2027 would be 42.
We did not just have WrestleMania 40.
I mean, so I'm sorry. Next year is going to be WrestleMania 42.
Okay, it was 41 this year.
Yes.
Okay.
So next 2026 is going to be
Vegas.
WrestleMania 42.
Mm-hmm.
So 2027 will be WrestleMania 43. So that would be weird if they want to have 2 separate WrestleManias because they don't want to just have one in Saudi. So then, yeah, that would be weird if they have WrestleMania like 43 or 42 and 43 or 43 and 44 back to back.
Yeah.
So they could do like a whole separate thing. Like we had the greatest Royal Rumble. They could just do WrestleMania Saudi, WrestleMania Jeddah, and then have WrestleMania 43 that year. Mm-hmm. So they could do that.
Yeah, we would just have to see like how they do this because they got to do it the right way. You can't just be weird about it.
Yeah, because you got to remember, people come from all over the world and all over the country to visit WrestleMania. This is like their yearly vacation plans for some people. This year we're going to WrestleMania no matter where it is. We're going to fly there. We're going to go to all the weekly events. I don't think too many people around the world are going to sign up to go to WrestleMania Saudi. So it's good for the economy of Saudi Arabia, which obviously needs no help. Yeah. But does it really bring, the value of WWE up?
You know what? It might actually do the opposite because just think, because it's rumored too that The Rock could main event if there's a WrestleMania in Saudi Arabia. So like, what about the people?
Not bad. WrestleMania Saudi, Rock versus Roman, that don't sound bad.
But what about the people who would literally die to see that here? And then they're not going to fly to Saudi Arabia.
Well, that just goes to show the top person The Rock is.
Yeah. Honestly.
Like, you literally can't come back for WrestleMania in Vegas, but you'll come back for WrestleMania in Saudi.
Yeah.
Man, anyway, tomato.
Yep, potato.
Haters gonna hate, potatoes gonna potate.
We should put that on a t-shirt.
Is there anything you want to talk about before we go?
I don't think so.
Well, something we forgot to talk about, just like the world forgot to talk about, is WWE just casually dropped Undisputed from the WWE title.
Oh, that's right. You've always thought it was dumb, though.
Okay, so I was playing... Okay, this is weird that all of this just happened now and we're talking about it, because I always thought it was dumb, yes, that it was called... That they never dropped it before, that it was called the Undisputed WWE title, especially when they brought the World Heavyweight title back. Because the whole point of the Undisputed title is it was a combination between the WWE title and the Undisputed title. Now, when I was playing W2K and I was listening to the 2K version of Michael and Corey Graves talk about the title, I kind of had okay, because we talked about world title is on Raw and WWE titles are on SmackDown. So technically, you're either champion of the world or you're champion of WWE. So technically, the world title is big. It's supposed to be bigger than the WWE title, because the world title, you're champion of the world versus champion of WWE. Yeah. However, we treat it, the WWE is higher because of the lineage behind the WWE title, all the people that held it before. But I was just coming around to the fact, oh yeah, Undisputed title, it does make sense, because obviously Undisputed, you'd be higher than world title. So it would be WWE title, world title, Undisputed title. So yes, it is better to be an Undisputed champion than it is to be a world champion. And then they just completely in my head.
I was gonna say WWE was had a meeting specifically and was like, okay, Vinny's actually starting to like the name. We gotta drop it now, and we gotta do it to where nobody else notices, but somehow Vinny finds out, and it
just literally screws with my head because I don't know.
Oh man.
But yeah, we're back to that.
Yeah.
But thank you for joining us. Follow us on TikTok, please. Our most active
Circle Wrestling.
At Jobber Circle Wrestling, our most active social media. Of course, if you're not a fan of TikTok, you can follow us on Instagram. So, what do you guys say before we go?
I think that's it.
Nice. Later.
Bye.